Apple finally got sued over the AirTag stuff. We talked about it 47 times here on the show, how we're like, seems a little risky when they started talking about AirTags, and then launched it, and then only people with iPhones knew if they were being tracked or an AirTag had been placed on them, and then Apple put out the app for Android so that those people could also know if they had an AirTag planted on them, and then AirTags started to get shoved into cars when people wanted to steal them and sort of track their whereabouts. They'd look at a nice luxury car, put an AirTag. So there was all these different ways that AirTags were being used.
Stalking, I guess.
Absolutely,
mostly.
yeah. Stalking was, all those are forms of stalking.
Yeah.
Really, any
sure.
AirTag that doesn't belong to you, that is then on you, you're now effectively being stalked.
Yes.
Instantly.
Tagged.
That's instant stalking.
Uh-huh.
Now, the thing was, people were wondering to what extent it was Apple's responsibility, because you're sitting there and saying, well, they just built the technology. Humans are weird, and they're going to do weird human things.
And it's not like it runs rampant. Stalking.
But Apple is also an enormous corporation, and because of that, they're a target. Now, I know they got all these amazing lawyers, but also there's other lawyers that wouldn't mind taking a crack at them because it's such a huge potential payout. They might just be like, shut up already.
Mm-hmm.
Take the money. Shut up already. I mean, I'm just saying, this is pure speculation. So we were thinking, okay, maybe this is going to happen where somebody is stalked or is damaged in some way, and an AirTag is found to be involved in some fashion, and then it lands on Apple's doorstep. Well, we have, I guess, a lawsuit now. Apple is being sued by 2 women over AirTag stalking, with the company accused of making it too easy for exes to track their movements. The case could form the basis of a class action lawsuit. You have 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8. You see what I'm doing with the math here, Will?
Yeah. This is scary stuff.
Well, it can be hard to be the first one to come out and be like, you know what, I hold them accountable to a certain extent. It can be hard to be the first one. Second, also still hard, a little bit less hard. But by the time you get up to number 47 on the class action, everybody's like, yeah, I'll throw my hat in there.
Mm-hmm.
In a separate case, police are being sued for conducting an alleged illegal search after they raided a property based on an iPhone vaguely located using Find My technology. Law enforcement, technology, criminal activity, the more integrated technology becomes in our lives, the greater the likelihood that this crossover continues. AirTag stalking became an issue very soon after the launch of the device, not because tracking devices were a new thing, but because of the high-profile launch. And the way that Apple describes something, pretty much anyone can understand, pretty much anyone, everyone now becomes exposed to a technology which previously may have been slightly more niche, including criminals. They go, they're watching the keynote too, Will.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not.
Are they?
Even criminals watch the keynote.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Millions of people watch the keynote. How many millions you got to put together before you have somebody shady in the group? It's just in the nature of the business. An ex-boyfriend of one of the women who filed the lawsuit planted an AirTag in the wheel well of her car and was able to find out where she had moved to avoid his harassment, according to the proposed class action complaint filed Monday in federal court in San Francisco. The other woman said her estranged husband tracked her movements by placing an AirTag in her child's backpack. Oh, man. In one instance, an ex-boyfriend used the device to track and shoot a woman in Akron, Ohio. In another, a woman in Indianapolis, Indiana, hid an AirTag in her ex-boyfriend's car, followed him to a bar, then ran him over.
All of these stories are just
Dark.
very dark.
Dark and ugly.
You never hear the stories that are just pleasant because it actually works, the technology, but, you know, it's always these brutal stories.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, the more brutal it is, the more likely it is to make news. I'm sure there's plenty of times in which it's been used for a positive purpose. The AirTag was like, oh, man, I found my luggage. I thought it was lost.
Mm-hmm.
Are people putting these on their dogs that go missing and stuff?
Yeah, sure.
Because there's like a collar attachment I heard of. I don't know how safe it is.
On their keychains.
Yeah, whatever.
You know.
So there's probably 1,000 stories like that, but you know that's not going to rise to the
No,
top.
no.
Well, you've been on the internet in 2022, sir.
Class action lawsuit
Sir,
there.
hazmat suits and
Hazmat suits.
I'm describing the internet in 2022 to you.
Are you wearing one on the internet?
I'm just saying, like, nobody was saying hazmat suit like 4 years ago. It was like maybe a Halloween costume or something. And now it just pops up in your social media. You're looking at like China protests and conflict is what I'm trying to say here, Will.
Got it.
I'm trying to say conflict is the hottest. Maybe it's always been hot. It's always been burning in the background. It just,
But now it seems like it's very extreme.
or maybe we're noticing it, or maybe the balance has shifted in the sense that the exposure is almost permanent, in the sense that the black boxes that we carry in our pockets deliver it like an IV drip.
And we're just going to become numb.
You're feeling numb, Will. No, that's something else that's causing that.
Yeah, right here.